All right, I am back here on the Just End the Suffering podcast. Training camps are underway. We're going to do spotlight the Giants this week. Joining me today, good friend of the podcast, one of the co-hosts of the Giant Insider podcast, also edits the Giant Insider newspaper. Jerry Foley is here. Jerry, how are you?
Good, Mike. How are you, man?
Pretty good. I got to say, Giants are really a very interesting offseason. I mean, they had a lot of stuff to do. Joe Shane had a big mess to clean up left by the previous administration. What do you think of what they did in the offseason to get themselves ready for 2022 and beyond?
Yeah, I don't think it could have been better from the standpoint of what he did in free agency because he had no money, right? He brought in a very solid starter in Glowinski, brought in guys like Jihad Ward, some other players who kind of round out the roster, Feliciano. So you really have like two starters there on the offensive line that he brought in with really no money to work with. He had to cut James Bradbury due to salary cap issues. But the draft, I thought, was, look, it's hard to grade draft now, but based on what he did, getting Thibodeau, Neal, and now it looks like Wan'Dale Robinson's a player. Cordell Flott's having a good camp. I think what they did in the offseason was very good. I mean, time will tell, but right now it looks like he made a lot of very solid moves.
Yeah, for sure. And I think the more interesting aspect, I think, of the training camp for me is just seeing what Brian Daboll does in his first camp. I mean, this is the first time really in a while the Giants got probably one of the top hotshot candidates on the board in Daboll here. And what are you looking forward to seeing how Daboll runs camp compared to what they've had in the Joe Judge, Pat Shermer era?
Yeah, it's already more upbeat, right? There's a lot more motion. We talked about on our podcast the other night, like the feeling around the team right now is a little better. Now it's going to ultimately result in wins and losses, but for the first time in years, we're seeing motion. The offense kind of brought into the 21st century, which is a really nice treat. But Daboll's keeping it a little looser than Judge did. Judge was very serious, and he had his own style. But Daboll's playing, he's playing rap songs from Kadarius Toney as part of the music, So he's doing some things that, the players are liking, but you can just tell it's a more grown-up offense. I mean, Jason Garrett's offense, was a nice guy, but Jason Garrett, it did not work here. And Jason Garrett's offense too often looked like four guys running out and turning around, which is completely unacceptable. This is a pro offense now. And, look, also coupled with what Wink Martindale's doing on defense, it's going to be a very aggressive defense. There's going to be times where we love it and I think times where we hate it because he's going to leave guys hanging. He's going to leave the cornerbacks one-on-one and say, all right, win your battle. I'm sending the house. So it's just a whole different feel to the team right now from a coaching standpoint.
Yeah, for sure. And obviously this is a huge year for Daniel Jones. The Giants probably wisely declined the fifth-year option in the offseason to try and see, what they can get out of him this year. Brian Daboll should be able to help him a little bit. He did wonders with Josh Allen in Buffalo. I mean, John Mara, the owner, has said, we failed Daniel Jones. He had the rotating cast of coordinators, not enough talent around him. What do you think we're looking at here for year 4 of Daniel Jones?
Well, this is going to be it. I mean, if he doesn't succeed this year, they're going to be drafting a quarterback next year. And look, if he doesn't work out this year, there's a very good chance they're going to be picking very high again. And then surrounding this new quarterback in the 2023 draft with a much better team than Jones had when he came in. So, look, camp so far, it's only been a few days, but it's been up and down for him. There's times where he looks great, and then there's times where he doesn't. So, if they give him time, we think he can do it, but it is all going to come down to him. He's got some weapons now with Toney, a healthy Saquon, with Robinson coming in, with Golladay being healthy. So, I don't want to predict, but it's going to come down to this year and how he performs, and that's really it. I mean, he's going to have to improve on the numbers that he's had over his first, 3 years. So.
Yeah, for sure. And also another big year for Saquon Barkley here. He needs to battle injuries. He's not been the same since he won the Rookie of the Year, his first year in here. And, I mean, there were rumors the Giants trying to move him. The offseason, they opted not to do that here. What do you think we're going to see out of Saquon?
A bounce back year. I think he's going to have a very good year. He looks really healthy. He's very healthy. He looks very fast, good. The line in front of him is going to be a lot better. I'm not saying they're going to be a top 10 team in the league as far as offensive lines go, but just adding Neal, Lemieux coming back, bringing in a veteran like Lewinsky and Feliciano, like Thomas in his third year. I mean, this is going to be a much improved offensive line, you would think. And if that's improved, then if Barkley's healthy, he's going to have a very good year. So I think you're going to see more of what you saw Barkley's rookie year this year.
Yeah, that'd be a good sign for Giants fans. Also, you mentioned that offensive line here. I mean, it looks like as good as it's been in a while. I mean, Andrew Thomas improved his second year. They draft Evan Neal, play right tackle. They have the 2 free agent pickups here. Like, how important is this development of the line for the Giants here? I mean, it's something they've been trying to fix for years.
Yeah, it's outrageous that it hasn't been fixed, right? I mean, it seems like since 2012, really, this line has been in kind of shambles. Even in 2011, when they won the Super Bowl, the line did not play well. So, look, we keep saying it like, oh, yeah, we think we have it now, but I really do. I think you have 2 bookends who can be there a very long time if they're healthy in Thomas and Neal. I think that the key to it was bringing in a guy like Lewinsky, who's a veteran, who's very good. He's going to bring some stability to right tackle, kind of the way Kevin Zeitler did, but Kevin Zeitler was more of a salary cap issue than anything else. But yeah, I mean, the whole offense is going to be, it's going to go based on how well they play. Jones has not had time, for all of his faults in his first 3 years. He has not had time. He's gone through exactly what Eli Manning went through towards the tail end of his career. And Barkley's going to, Barkley hasn't had the holes. I mean, he's been injured, but how many times have you seen gets a handoff and there's a guy in the backfield already? So it's going to be extremely important for this line to be good. I think they will be much improved, and I think it'll make the offense be much more productive than they've been over the last, 3 to 5 years.
Yeah, I mean, you look at the offense, you look at some of the names on the paper there. I mean, you have talent there. You have Saquon Barkley, you have good receivers, Kenny Golladay, Kadarius Toney. You mentioned Wan'Dale Robinson look good in camp here. I mean, they're considering Daboll's back, and you would expect some significant improvement on that side of the ball.
You would, yeah, especially with some weapons they've added and the line improving. They really have to. It's almost like now or never. I mean, if we can't improve with a number 7 overall tackle, a former number 4 and Andrew Thomas getting better, like what is it going to take to get this line better? So I think they're on the right path. I think they will be. They're not going to be. I don't think they're going to be dominant this year, but I think they're going to be on their way to being, what we were used to seeing in the early 2000s with this team.
Yeah, for sure. I think on defense, obviously the big guy everybody's watching here is Kayvon Thibodeau, and the draft. I mean, there are a lot of people who I think were trying to find reasons not to take him, which I think made no sense. The Giants did a good job of sitting at 5, getting him, and he's made a big deal how he's not scared of New York. He's got the attitude to play here. I think if the Giants are right on this one, I think they got a chance to have a real star here.
Yeah, I mean, Thibodeau for 2 years was like the consensus number 1 pick coming out of college. The fact that he slipped is comical, I think. I think it's one of those things where everybody kind of talked themselves out of it. Had a bit of an ankle issue in the 2021 season. Then all this other stuff started coming out about he doesn't care as much about football. I mean, these guys get paid differently now in college. There's like deals now that they can make where they get paid money, and good for them. So, I don't know what happened there, whatever. I think everyone else screwed up there. He was most people's number 1 for a long time, and bringing him in is going to be great. It's going to and to pair him with Ojulari on the other side, I think the Giants are going to have something there on the edge that could be really exciting. Like whereas the offense has a ton of question marks, I think this defense is going to be a lot of fun to watch this year.
Yeah, so you got that defense. We do have some change there. Obviously, some guys in the secondary have left. You bring in Kayvon Thibodeau. You bring in some other guys here. So what are you looking forward to with this Giant defense?
Much more aggressive. McKinney is not going to be, playing that deep safety like he was under Patrick Graham. He's going to be up towards the line more. He's going to be moving all over the place. Right now, he's wearing the green helmet, so he's communicating everything on defense in training camp. So a guy like that, like he's probably the next one that's ready to be a Pro Bowler. Right? He had a very good year last year with 5 picks. He's a playmaker. He's going to ascend and he's going to play a bigger role in this defense. You have the edge, like I said. You have Blake Martinez coming back. It should be a fun group to watch. The biggest question mark is going to be that second corner. Can Aaron Robinson hold it down? And can he hold it down from Darnay Holmes, who, look, he's a slot corner, but having a very good camp right now. He had 3 interceptions so far, I think, in 3 practices. Dory Jackson is going to be the number 1 corner. So it's the aggressive nature of Wink Martindale coupled with some real playmaking ability on this defense at safety and really on the edge.
Yeah, absolutely here. And obviously we're in training camp, obviously early on. Everybody always keeps their eye on the reports in the media out there saying, who's standing out, who's making noise. Like, who are some guys who early in camp have stood out in terms of making a potential impact for this team?
Darnay Holmes is probably the number one guy who's really stood out in practice. He's had three interceptions. I believe he had a pick six today. He's going to be someone, and Wan'Dale Robinson. Those are really the two. I can take one person on offense and one on defense. It's Darnay Holmes on defense, and then on offense it's Wan'Dale Robinson. Who, look, everybody raised their eyebrows when he was taken in the second round because of his size, and it was like, who the hell is Wan'Dale Robinson? But if you watched any college football, especially the SEC, you knew who he was. I thought it was a little early to take him, but hey, I've been wrong before. And so far in camp, he's having a very good camp. He's going to be an integral part. And look, Kadarius Toney, who last year had a very up and down, mostly down season, he looks kind of back to form where the way he played against Dallas, where he had, I think, 189 yards receiving. I don't want to say he's uncoverable, but he's so elusive. It's very hard to cover him one-on-one. So the guys standing out right now, Toney, Robinson, and Darnay Holmes, believe it or not, on defense.
Yeah, absolutely. Another interesting thing here, obviously, also is every training camp is always, you look around, it's like, okay, here's our position battles, whether it's two guys, like rookies, veterans, battling to get starting spots here. Which positions are really up for grabs right now?
It's a good question. Probably left guard, where it's either Lemieux or Azudu, the new kid, Josh Azudu. Corner, second corner, Aaron Robinson, like I said, trying to hold it down. And, I don't want to say the safety position because you got McKinney and Love, but, they just brought in Andrew Adams. I think he was brought in more than special teams, brought in for depth at safety. I don't think Julian Love would be replaced, but that's a position you can look at as well. Another one is next to inside linebacker, next to Blake Martinez. You have Tate Crowder coming back, but they're very high on this kid, Micah McFadden, who could push Crowder. So I would say the inside linebacker, corner, and probably left guard are the three most up for grabs right now.
Yeah, I would say also one I'd probably watch is tight end too, because they let Evan Engram
go.
Yeah,
that's a good one. Yeah, you know what? That's a good one. Yeah, good job by you. Yeah, Bellinger, they have high hopes for him. And, when you bring in Ricky Seals-Jones, you did not bring in the second coming of Antonio Gates. I mean, this is a position that can definitely be taken by Bellinger. So good job by you. Yeah, absolutely. That's a very good one. That's another one as well. They want Bellinger to be their Kevin Ball / Jake Ballard type. Someone who can block and run the seam pass and get open. And, look, Evan Engram had all the talent in the world, but he couldn't catch the ball. And Bellinger brings a different element. He brings more of that, more of he's only a rookie, but he's going to be a more reliable target than Evan Engram, who was exciting when he had the ball, but he just couldn't catch it. And you're seeing that happen with him now in Jacksonville.
Yeah, I mean, Ricky Seals-Jones, too. I mean, he's not flashy, but he did perform well a couple of years when he had injuries and watching it at the tight end positions. I feel like he's a guy who you could, he'll be fine. I think, obviously, they're hoping that Bellinger just takes that job.
Yeah, he's fine. He's a nice player, but, there's a reason why they took Bellinger. So, yeah, look, I hope Ricky Seals-Jones comes in and gets 1,000 yards. I just don't see it happening.
Yeah, I don't see it either here. And the other thing is, things you hear with Giants here, I feel like this camp, the general feel is sort of a lot of what you do at the beginning of rebuild, where you have a lot of competition, a lot of eager young guys here. And I think it's interesting because you have that comparison. You look at the schedule they have early on where it's pretty manageable. So if this camp goes well, you can see, maybe the Giants are making things interesting. In the first half of the season, they get off to a hot start.
Yeah. I think you're right. I agree.
Yeah, so, I mean, you look at some of the early games they're playing here, I mean, it's sort of the inverse of the Jets schedule, where the Jets have all the easy games late, they're all their hard games early on, and the Giants, I believe, their first 4 games out of the gate after the Titan game here, they have Carolina in there, they have the Bears coming in, it starts with the Jaguars, Seahawks, Texans, and Lions. I mean, the Giants, I wouldn't be shocked if they're sitting around 500, right, around midseason.
Yeah, and look, week 1 they got the Titans. Now, if they play them week 10 or 12, the Titans probably, destroy them. But if you're going to get the Titans, you want to get them week 1. And then you got Carolina, and then I think you have Dallas at home. So, it's not daunting, right, their schedule. And as you go through it, the NFC East is not scary. The Eagles, unfortunately, I think are the best team, but Jalen Hurts doesn't scare anybody yet. Yeah, I mean, Look, I think this team's going to be 7-9, but it wouldn't surprise me if they snuck a couple more wins in, and even 8-9 or I'm sorry, 7-10, and they finished 8-9 or 9-8 even. I mean, that's very high expectations, but I see this as a 7-10 team if Jones can play well, and that's just because of a lot of inexperience on the team, and just the fact that they're not very deep. Like the guys start getting injured, and I think every team in the NFL has that, but I think this team in particular has an issue with depth. So.
Yeah, I think if you get that kind of year, that'd be very encouraging for the coaching staff, because this is not the most talented Giant team we see in recent memory. But you see that if they're going 7-10, 8-9, you say I get more of the credit to the coaches saying, "Oh, like they got a lot out of what they had, get them better players. This team could be very good."
Yeah, that's right. Good point.
Absolutely, Jerry. Thanks for all the time. I really appreciate it. Before I let you go, can people follow you guys on social media and keep up with the Giant Insider newspaper and podcast?
Yeah, man. So at Giant Insider on Twitter, and then the podcast is on pretty much all platforms: iTunes, Spotify, Google Play, everywhere you can find a podcast. We're probably there. Giant Insider Podcast, and then we have the newsletter that is bi-weekly during the season and monthly in the off season. Giant Insider. So you can go to www.thegiantinsider.com.
Yeah, Giant fans, this is great stuff. You should check it all out. Jerry, thanks for all the time. Really appreciate it.
You got it, Mike. Thanks, man.